Dele Alli was labelled as the next English superstar and had the potential to be a Premier League legend. However, childhood trauma, addiction and mental illness have prevented him from reaching that level. Let's first dive into his early years, where he was born in 1996 in Milton Keynes, England, to an alcoholic mother and a father who moved away after Dele's birth. As a child, he would get in trouble with the police a lot before being adopted into a new family at 12 years old after living in an abusive household, but we will go into detail about that later in the video. Throughout his childhood, Dele excelled in football and would escape his terrible home life by having fun kickabouts on the street and inside small concrete cages. Growing up playing against older boys toughened him up and helped perfect his skills. He made many friends through these kickabouts and came along to his local park to watch them play for their grassroots team City Colts, to which he asked the manager if he could join in. That manager, Mark Walsh, knew as soon as Dele touched the ball, he would become a professional footballer, and so when Walsh became a coach at the MK Dons Academy, he took Dele with him. He continued to shine through the ranks at MK Dons, playing as a CDM, and when he was only 15 and still at school, MK Dons manager Carl Robinson saw Dele excel during an academy futsal session and invited Dele to train with the first team. The senior players were used to shy young men nervously joining in and playing simple passes. However, Dele stepped up fearlessly. Within minutes, he had already nutmegged a teammate and ran circles around the rest. In November 2012, Robinson handed Dele his first team debut at just 16 years old. He came on as a sub in the FA Cup against Cambridge City. His first touch of the ball was an unbelievable back heel, and after drawing that game, Dele bagged a goal with a stunning 30-yard shot. His hunger, confidence, ability and pure fieriness enabled him to be a first team regular for the League One side, and it wouldn't take long at all for the team to rely on their new star man. In true Jeremy Lynch fashion, Dele claimed he was the best player at the entire club at 17 years old, and to be fair, he probably was. The kid even scored a League One hat-trick at 17 years old while playing as a defensive midfielder. Although he was tried out in many positions, including a striker, a winger, a number 8 and a number 10. All in all, this improved his footballing IQ, not to mention increasing his positional awareness. On the international stage, a versatile Dele received a call-up for the England under-17 national team, making his debut against the Faroe Islands. He gained a reputation for scoring screamers at MK Dons, and his clips would regularly be shared, and so word swiftly spread about the Wonderkid Dele Alli. One morning he was invited to a Liverpool game where he would meet their manager Brendan Rodgers afterwards to verbally discuss a potential transfer. However, when Manchester United came down for a League Cup fixture, the stands at MK were an abundance of Premier League scouts and managers, including then Tottenham Hotspur boss Mauricio Pochettino, who only needed 5 minutes to make up his mind about signing Dele. I'm sure it also helped that he was the key performer in MK Dons' iconic 4-0 victory over Man United. In the autumn of 2014, Dele's teammates began to notice he was rapidly outgrowing League One. He needed players to give him the ball quicker and players to move better around him. It was evident he hungered for a fresh challenge. In January 2015, after Liverpool hesitated over his first team potential, Tottenham won the race for his signature with a £5 million deal, including a short-term loan-back arrangement. His loyalty paid off as MK Dons secured promotion to the EFL Championship for the first time in their, albeit short, history. His 16 league goals also played a pivotal role in him earning the EFL Young Player of the Year award and a place in the PFA Team of the Year. At the end of that season, Dele Alli's MK Dons teammates and manager bid him farewell as he embarked on his journey to Tottenham. Their conviction in his success was unwavering, yet they anticipated a gradual acclimatization period, but this was far from the case thanks to a highly impressive pre-season where he proved to be very comfortable stable and got on extremely well with the players. Some Spurs fans may remember watching him on TV during a pre-season friendly against Real Madrid. In that match, the 19-year-old swiftly nutmegged Luka Modric. Dele's meteoric ascent extended to the England senior squad. After just 3 Premier League starts, he earned a call-up and made his debut as a substitute against Estonia in October 2015. The following month, he scored in his first England start facing France at Wembley. This impressive start to his new life at the top level earned him a long-term contract until 2021. Just 11 days later, he stunned fans with a 25-yard volley in a 3-1 victory against Crystal Palace, which, in my opinion, is one of the best goals in recent Premier League history. In the Spurs team, he lined up as a central attacking midfielder, where he linked up beautifully with target man Harry Kane while scoring magical goals of his own. Dele achieved another milestone by bagging his first brace for Tottenham in a 4-0 away win against Stoke City. The Tottenham fans also loved the bite he had to his game. His aggressive style of play and pure passion for the badge is something you rarely see in the modern game. His built-up anger could be released for 90 minutes, and he absolutely relished the way he could rile up rival players and fans. Dele humorously admitted it in an interview that he found playing in the Premier League far easier than playing in League One, as the players are all on the same wavelength and the players of a better quality. His own outstanding performances led to him being named the PFA Young Player of the Year and earning a place in the PFA Team of the Year once again. However, his season took an unexpected turn when he received a 3-match ban for losing his head and punching West Brom player Claudio Jakob. Maurizio Pochettino called Dele into his office. Fortunately, he got away with a slap on the wrist and was advised to calm himself and mellow his playstyle slightly. Poch later admitted to the press that Dele has a nasty side. Statistically, his debut Premier League season ended with 10 goals and 8 assists. He had hoped to make just 10 starts for Tottenham in his first season, but instead he made 33, emerging as one of the catalysts for the club's success under Pochettino. Dele was forever grateful for the trust Poch showed and really found a father figure in him. Before the following season began, Dele Alli decided to change his kit name to just Dele due to the fact he now has no association towards his biological family. Spurs' second place finish allowed Dele to showcase his talent on the grand stage of the Champions League. He started 2017 by claiming the Premier League Player of the Month award by scoring 8 goals in 6 matches, including 3 consecutive braces against Southampton, Watford and Chelsea. Unfortunately, Spurs were knocked out of the UCL in the round of 32. However, they finished the Premier League season in 2nd place, despite having the best defence and attack numbers. For Dele, he retained his spot in the Team of the Year and the Young Player of the Year trophy. It took Dele just 52 games to score 20 Premier League goals. In comparison, Paul Scholes took 74 games, while Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard didn't reach the same total until they had played 140 and 169 games respectively. This is partially down to Dele's new hybrid role playing as a mix between a second striker and a cam behind Harry Kane. Dele was truly someone who was then one of the best players in the league at the age of 21, doing things that had not been done by a player at his age since Frank Lampard. Special was only the first adjective to describe Dele at that time. It felt as though Tottenham had perhaps the most expensive talent in the entire league, and giants like Barcelona were waiting in the wings for his signature. Furthermore, one day after the 5th anniversary of Dele's debut for MK Dons at non-league Cambridge, which came in front of a crowd of 500, he scored twice for Tottenham in a 3-1 win against reigning European champions Real Madrid in the Champions League at Wembley. However, criticism came in for his inconsistency, and an alleged nude video of Dele quickly made its way around the internet. It's evident he became somewhat of a victim of his success, as he managed 14 goals in 50 games during the 17-18 season. Despite initial uncertainty, he managed to just about secure a spot in Gareth Southgate's 2018 World Cup lineup. Before the tournament, he missed 2 friendlies due to injury and was a substitute in 3 other warm-up games. However, an assist in England's pre-World Cup match against Costa Rica earned him a starting position in the opener against Tunisia. Although he sat out 2 group games due to yet again another injury, Dele returned for the exciting round of 16 win against Colombia. He scored in the quarterfinals but couldn't prevent England's exit in the semis against Croatia. Returning to Spurs, Dele netted his first goal of the season, securing victory for Tottenham in their league opener against Newcastle United. In that game, he performed his iconic eye celebration, which went viral all over social media. Later, as captain, he led his team in an EFL Cup tie against Watford at Stadium MK, his boyhood club's home ground, where they were playing due to delays in the completion of Spurs' new stadium. Turbulence away from the field was brewing. As we know, Dele had a difficult childhood, and his biological parents contacted newspapers to slate Dele's adopted family. Ever since then, he has cut ties with them completely. His teammates all knew something was up behind the scenes with Dele. Harry Kane and Eric Dyer in particular would put an arm around his shoulder. However, Dele never opened up and put a mask on. Furthermore, he spent the 2018-19 season with countless injuries, with many suggesting he is being overworked at his age. 2018 also saw the rise of the video game Fortnite, and Dele became popular within the community. According to his ex-girlfriend, Dele played the video game so much that it caused a rift in their relationship. An English football star even came out and admitted he plays the game for 16 hours a day, resulting in his partner leaving and the club fining him for missing training. Fortunately, he was match ready for the UCL semi-final and threaded a perfect ball to Lucas Moura, who etched Tottenham's iconic goal against Ajax, securing their maiden Champions League final berth. After losing to Liverpool in the final, Dele was yet again absent due to injury. In November 2019, Daniel Levy sacked Mauricio Pochettino. For Dele, he felt he had lost the only real role model he ever had in his life who cared deeply about him. That alone took a big hit on his confidence and self-belief. The replacement was Jose Mourinho, a manager who has a history of club success, but also a history of falling out with players. Mourinho bravely changed Dele's position as an attacking player just behind Harry Kane, allowing him greater freedom to score. Under Mourinho, Dele netted 3 goals in his first 3 games, including 2 against Bournemouth. One key thing about Dele under Mourinho is he lost his fire on the pitch, which undermined his confidence and arrogance, part of his natural game. In February of 2020, he faced controversy after posting a Snapchat video that appeared to mock an Asian man during the pandemic. He was later found guilty by the FA and faced suspension and fines, which once again brought up the discussion of his maturity. An on-field explosive incident occurred during Spurs' 1-0 defeat to RB Leipzig when Dele reacted furiously to being subbed off in the second half, refusing to acknowledge Jose Mourinho and slamming a water bottle to the floor. It will become more evident that the pair have a tumultuous relationship. Months later in May, he was beaten by burglars and held up at knife point as they stole possessions from his home during lockdown. He came back to Tottenham for the Project Restart games in June of 2020 and no longer was in the form displayed before lockdown, especially as his goals and assists dried up and physically he was putting on pounds. Spurs as a whole transitioned to much more of a counter-attacking side and frustrations mounted between Mourinho and Dele through the end of the season. Dele was an influential figure in the dressing room at the time, and his frustrations towards the team being counter-attack predominant were evident in Amazon Prime's All or Nothing series. The documentary also showed Mourinho questioning Dele's lifestyle and wondering why he wasn't more consistent. In another video, he also referred to described Dele as lazy in training. During the first half of the 2020-21 season, he fell out of favour with Mourinho completely, receiving limited starts in games. Most of his appearances were in the Europa League. Aged just 24 years old, he looked in the mirror and questioned whether he should just retire now from the game. Around this time, Dele developed an addiction to sleeping pills, which enabled him to shut away from the world when he isn't playing football. After a 6-month absence, he returned to the Premier League in March 2021, playing against Fulham, but throughout the season, he started just 7 league games. Clearly, his confidence had dropped as he was taking fewer shots per game, despite playing in a role further up the pitch. Not to mention the fact he has been declining for the last 3 years, so it's not surprising at all that he wasn't even considered for the 26-man squad to compete at the Euros. In August, Dele sought a resurgence by scoring against Wolverhampton Wanderers. This marked his return to Premier League scoring since March 2020. Despite efforts by new short-lived Spurs manager Nuno Espirito Santo to reintegrate him, the arrival of Antonio Conte in November disrupted Dele's progress. Under Conte's management, Dele struggled to find a role and became a peripheral figure in Tottenham's plans, despite the fact he was now working with a short-term personal team that managed his diet, training and off-field activity. However, he would turn down help for his deteriorating mental health. People love to downplay the mental aspects of football, but in my opinion, mindset is more important than talent at that level. The name Dele Alli started to fizzle from stardom, and he would be constantly rinsed by the English media. Off the pitch, he would turn to alcohol to suppress his emotional battles and trauma, which I will come on to later in the video. Throughout the 2021-22 campaign, he started only 8 league games, 2 of which were under Conte. Consequently, Tottenham made him available for transfer during the January 2022 window, and that's when Everton took a chance with him. The transfer initially occurred on a free basis, but it could potentially reach a staggering £40 million if specific performance targets are achieved. He committed to a 2.5-year contract, extending until the conclusion of the 2023-24 season. His decision to join Everton was influenced by the opportunity to work under the new manager Frank Lampard, one of his footballing idols as a kid. However, despite high expectations, Dele struggled to make an impact during his time at Everton. In the 2021-22 season, he managed only 11 appearances and a single start, followed by 2 additional appearances in the 22-23 season. Unfortunately, he failed to score or provide an assist in any of those 13 games he participated in. Therefore, in August 2022, Dele made a significant move, joining Turkish side Besiktas on loan for the remainder of the season. Now, no offense to Besiktas at all, but Dele going to the Turkish Super League at just 26 years old is quite a heavy downfall. The deal included an option to buy for the Turkish club. In his second appearance for Besiktas, Dele broke his goal drought, scoring his first goal in over a year. However, his performance didn't match expectations under the new head coach Şenol Güneş, who highlighted Dele's struggles in terms of efficiency and the fact he failed to report to training. The fans were far from impressed with their signing. He was booed by the entire crowd after being sent off just 30 minutes into a Turkish Cup game. Consequently, his game time dwindled, and with just 2 goals in 13 games during his stint with the team, he returned to Everton in April for an assessment of a hip injury. Meanwhile, Besiktas explored options to cancel his season-long loan. Since then, Dele Alli has not played a single game of football due to more complicated injuries, and his Everton contract is set to expire in the summer of 2024. The media had a field day when Dele returned home to England, as he was pictured with a balloon in his mouth, surrounded by gas canisters and other substances. It wasn't a good look and perfectly fed into the narrative of Dele being a party animal who has little interest in in resurrecting his career. It was quite hard to not feel sorry for him, in all honesty, until he opened up in an extremely emotional interview with Gary Neville about his personal life. He revealed at age 6 he was essayed by his mum's friend. At age 8 he was dealing substances. At age 11, he was hung off a bridge by a man in the next estate, and then he was sent to his father in Africa for a year, a multi-millionaire businessman who would try to teach him discipline. I mean, the fact he managed to even become a professional footballer after all that is truly a testament to his spirit and something we should all admire. Dele also tragically opened up about admitting himself into rehab in the USA in early 2023 for 6 weeks. In another recent Sky Sports interview with our beloved Cara, Dele positively revealed his ambitions to become physically and mentally better than he has ever been, with his target being the World Cup 2026, in which he has a daily reminder on his phone to boost his motivation. Something which also stood out for me was this quote from Dele: "The only person I blame is myself. Working with Mourinho was a great experience and one I learned a lot from. I think it's fair to say we're all rooting for him and would like to see him back at the top level. For now, Dele Alli needs to rebuild his reputation and be thankful his career hasn't ended up like Ravel Morrison's."